Recording.
Start again.
Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's game. A slight change of schedule. Well, it's not actually. Do you say schedule or schedule?
It's Constance Games.
Yeah. I'll go for schedule.
Boris Johnson for PM. And that's now. Let's not get into party political debates, please. Not really a change of schedule. The first thing is, of course, we are earlier because normally we don't start the evening session on a Saturday until 8 o'clock, but we're here at 7:30. Woohoo! That's because I get grumpy the later it gets.
Yeah, that's because you have a set bedtime that you need to make. And just to let you know, to bring you up to date, despite the rumours that are going around, I have decided to have a break from Dungeons and Dragons, mainly because I really like Shadowrun as a system, and somebody needs to turn their phone off. Who was that?
Who's that?
And I really wanted to dedicate some time to Mythras, Runequest 6. And so I decided to give Dungeons and Dragons a bit of a break and to focus on Runequest 6. Monday was also a difficult night because Sprocketeer also had another session on Monday night that almost like started straight after ours. And Longshanks EPG was missing missing fencing to do it. So
beekeeping.
It was a bit of a strange setup. Plus, it was also difficult because I just learnt the rules one Monday, and then by 2 weeks later, I'd forgotten them all. So I decided to sort of like have D&D a rest, give it a rest, put it on the back burner. I am still going to be DMing it, but it's more going to be sort of like one-off games every now and again, and to focus on RuneQuest. And I quite like playing minority games, so I'm not really concerned how many people are watching, etc. I just like playing minority games, and I do like the system of RuneQuest. And one of the things I like about it is that, if you look at your characters, guys, you'll realize this. It doesn't matter what level you are, how good you are, you're still only going to get 3, 4, and 5 on that right arm. You're never ever going to get any more. You can protect it, you can try to parry it, but you're only ever going to have 3, 4, or 5, or 6 or 7 hit points on that right arm, and that's what I like about it. And the same is actually true with Shadowrun. So we're going to be playing RuneQuest, or RuneQuest 6, or Mythras. You can call it whatever you want. Really, it's a game based on a D100. The lower you roll, the better. And it's a lot more rule intensive, but a lot better for the flow. Combat is completely deadly, but it has a wonderful opportunity for role play and engaging, and for characters to do their own development, which hopefully we will see as the party moves on. Now, Sprocketeer is not with us tonight because of the Clash of Dungeons and Dragons on a Monday night with Cryptex _81 is going to carry on his channel. Not this week, but he'll start next week. So if you're turning up for Dungeons and Dragons, then sorry, not this week. But if you watch Cryptex _81 next week, you'll be able to see the continuing adventures. That'll happen over on his channel. Sprocketeer decided to go with Dungeons and Dragons, while Big Beastie and Longshanks CPG decided to come with RuneQuest, and Sprocketeer, of course, we just lumbered with him. Chugga we just lumbered with him because he only plays this game, and that's it. So before we go any further, I would just like to give the players an opportunity to introduce who they are playing tonight. And we will start with down there with the ginger mop head of Chugga.
I am Chugga, and this is not my real hair. I'd just like to point that out. I am going to be playing Gully, the apprentice sorcerer, who is not ginger. He is a red-haired male.
Strawberry blonde.
Red-haired. In his
He's about 17 years old. He's a bit scrawny, freckled face. He's a sorcerer's apprentice. He is the apprentice to a master healer. And he has basically been sent on this adventure as part of a quest which Master Healy has sent him on.
Excellent. And underneath Chugga we have Big Beastie.
I am Big Beastie, and I am playing Briggs. He is the handsome, go-getting archer who is he's out to look for his real dad, but that'll come later, hopefully, maybe.
Hopefully, yeah. Excellent. And then zooming across to the opposite side, we have Longshanks EPG.
Hi guys, I am Longshanks EPG and I'm playing the character Hengist, who is the professional warrior of the group. He is a veteran of a few bar fights, quite a few small to medium-sized skirmishes. He's a pretty lethal fighter with his sword and shield combo and heavy armor.
Excellent.
Chopping the odd limb off and things.
And just to let you know, they also have with them today, they also have another character who you can see up at the top, who is called Miko, who is an elderly lady that they recently found on board a ship, a little boat, a little skiff. And she is with them at the present moment in time and will continue as we go along. Now, before we set off, guys, I'd just like to remind you that in the tables and rules section, there is a document about luck points. And one thing that Chugwook and I was talking about earlier on and would like to draw your attention to is the cheat fate. And it says characters can use luck points to re-roll any dice roll they make or swap the numbers already rolled. So using your luck points, you could, if you wish, if you rolled 91, you could actually re-roll it again, or you could swap the numbers over to get 19, which would mean that you're more likely to succeed. And that, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention in the luck points. Okay, so just a very quick recap so we can get straight into it. The party left the temple and set sail, ready for Lindo, the coastal town. On their way, they encountered a terrible storm that knocked sailors overboard, made characters tie themselves to the mast, and actually allowed Gully to steer the ship for a small period of time. At the centre of the storm, they met Miko, a rather elderly lady who seemed to know everybody, and everybody apart from the party seemed to know her. She's been in a cabin for quite a while, and it was during this time that the party came across on their boat what appeared to be an unmanned ship that was heading in the opposite direction. It actually came alongside their boat, and the party immediately hopped on board, as was their duty under their contract, which they all signed, but unfortunately, because none of them have a literacy skill, none of them could actually read. And so they all jumped on board and actually started to make sure that everything was safe and sound. Briggs kept on the boat on the wave crest and was up on the high deck with his bow, guarding, etc. And Hengist and Gully had gone below decks, and Owen was on the main deck when they had found a whole load of dead bodies, decaying bodies, and at that point there was a shout, and these bodies suddenly started to heave themselves up from the floor or from the deck of the ship and started to approach people and actually attack. So you should be able to see, just to remind you, Briggs, you're on this map, but you're not on the boat. that is correct,
Yes,
isn't
sir.
it? Yeah. So you can actually see. I'm going to put you here. What's your lighting like on it? Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah. So hang on a minute. Let me just do this because you're suddenly going to find that you're almost like face to face with a zombie. Can you see that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember, you're on the wave crest, but you saw that zombie come to life, and Owen is down here, and he saw the zombie directly opposite him come to life as well. And at that point, that is the point that we stopped last week. So that is the point that we are actually going to start off in this week's exciting first combat. So as always, guys, the first thing, if you just wait for me to get everything sorted, the first thing you're going to have to do is actually roll for me some initiatives.
Just
Yeah, go for it.
as far as Hengist and Gully is concerned, there was a dead body down here, wasn't there? Just by
Yeah.
But that one hasn't moved yet, has it?
No, not that you have seen. There were several dead bodies all around the place, but as far as you're concerned, at the present moment in time, none of them have actually moved at all.
And is Hengist and Gully aware of what's happening up on deck?
Well, I think the last thing that actually happened was that there was some cries of that things were sort of like coming up to life, if I remember correctly. But please correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not sure that's
I think they were below deck when things started coming, so I don't think they actually know.
Okay, so before initiatives actually rolled, in any case, one of the things that would have happened from last adventure is that Owen would have actually shouted that the stuff on deck is actually coming to life. You know, okay. So and as you can see, if you remember, none of the doors are actually open. None of the doors are actually closed. They're actually all were partly ajar. So it's quite easy for you to hear that and sort of like act accordingly. Can I please remind you that the boats are close enough together to jump backwards and forwards on? Okay then. Okay. So let's start off. So this is round one, turn one. And Gully, you are up first.
Okay, so hearing the commotion up on deck, Gully is he's got his torch in one hand. He's going to reach into his tunic with the other hand, and he's going to pull out the strange metal disc with a bit of carving on it that the others have seen him use to cast some of his more powerful magic. And he's going to turn around to Hengist and he's going to say, Hengist, we should get out of here. Okay,
cool. So that would be your action and your free action done in combat round. Okay, Briggs. So your arrow is knocked in it's in your bow. So you will need to take one turn to actually pull it back in readiness to fire.
Roger.
So I'm presuming that's what you.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do.
Cool. Okay.
I can see this zombie in front of me, can't I?
Yes. Yeah.
Most definitely. I'll be aiming at him.
Just so you know, I'm going to. I suppose I should do this. I'm going to. Let me just do this because I think it's going to. I'm going to put their name plates on. So
is other people on a separate map?
Who?
Well, I've got Hengist and me, but apart from that, I can't see anything else.
Yeah, because of your light, because it's
right,
dark.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you see that one there? Briggs's zombie one.
No.
But Briggs can see it, can't you, Briggs?
I can, yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so Owen can see this zombie which is in front of him, which we're going to call Zombie 2, for want of a better word. And he uses his movement action to approach the zombie, and that will be his first action point taken up. And that leads us down to you, Hengist.
So yeah, Hengist is going to reply to Gully and go, "I agree, lad, it's time to go." And then he's going to get his shield, which he's already got his longsword out, and he's going to get his shield, which he had slung on his back, and he's going to get that ready, so it's on his arm, ready to defend himself.
Okay, so that'll be your action for that time. Okay then, so you notice there is Briggs. You suddenly sense that behind you, Mika is actually out on the deck. You can almost like see her from the corner of her eye, from the corner of your eye, and you suddenly notice that she's like muttering something. It seems to be quite rhythmical and quite sort of like in almost like a chant. It doesn't sound threatening at all. It sounds quite positive. Okay, and she just sort of like continues to chant this thing in the background. Okay, yes, so oh, hang on, I haven't done my zombies, haven't I? Sorry, guys. I'm super organised today because they've even got initiative rolls and everything. So they're going to act now, but then you'll see when they act next time. So the zombie in front of Owen will actually take a swing at Owen. Let me just take this out. So they've only got they've got like their fists or their bite. So this is a fist. It both rolls the same. And I'll tell you what they're going to do. Yeah, so he's sort of like, this zombie takes a swipe at Owen. But as Owen's charging towards him with his spear, he takes a swipe at him, but misjudges the distance as Owen closes. Okay, guys, we're coming up to round 2 now. Sorry, turn 2. Gully.
Gully's going to dither because he's not going to go out into that next room without Hengist going first. But is the ship that we're currently on approximately the same size as the Sea Crest?
Yeah, approximately the same size. You don't think it's as deep because your boat has a deck below this one that you're on. So
okay, but that might be for cargo.
Yeah, exactly. That's what is stored down there.
How Gully wants to do a quick calculation and try to remember how many sailors are on the Sea Crest.
Okay, go for it.
What do you want?
We should do. Let me just check, because there'll be no sort of like typical thing. So if you roll an insight roll for me, that'll do.
No.
Yeah, you think there's about 20, maybe somewhere between 20 and 30.
Okay, so Gully's going to base what he thinks of how many zombies there could actually be on this ship.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so this Owen will actually do his attack because it's sorry, the zombie will do its attack next. Zombie 2. So this is his fist bite coming off. So that misses. So that's absolutely fine. And Briggs, you can now fire at this zombie. Notice that the zombie's moved slightly. He's obviously on his way down the stairs, but you still got a shot at him.
Yeah. So as he's coming around, I'm aiming, like trying to get my breath and the rhythm in time to release this arrow.
Cool.
And
do you know, I'm actually breathing then, as if to do a deeper breath in. Are you meant to breathe in, and are you meant to shoot as you breathe out?
You're supposed to hold the breath, aren't you?
Yeah. You breathe out, hold halfway, take your shot, and then exhale the rest of the breath.
I would be dead.
Otherwise, it can ruin your shot, basically.
Cool.
Can't it?
Yeah.
So fire your bow. Twang.
Here he goes.
Ooh.
Oh my!
Oh! Screenshot.
So that's actually a critical. So you've got 2 specials on that. So before you do anything else, roll your location 1d20.
Big was moaning about his rubbish rolls earlier, so he can't moan anymore.
Right in the 13.
Excellent.
Right arm.
Right arm. Yeah. Right on his right arm, and do 1d6. I think it's 1d6, isn't it, worth of damage?
Yes. 1d6. 4.
4 points of damage, which quite nicely actually takes his
Big space right now. Brilliant.
That's 4 points of damage. So that actually takes him down. That takes the arm down to -1. So but he had 3 in it, so it's not a serious wound yet, or major wound, or whatever way around. So the arrow goes straight into his right arm, which is quite good from where you are, and it sort of like whacks into the arm. And you notice that the arrow goes straight through the zombie's arm, absolutely completely, and there's a slight spurt of what appears to be decayed matter coming out the other end, and this zombie just sort of like continues down the gangplank towards Owen, and down the stairs, but you now notice that one of its arms is quite loose. Now, Briggs, you actually get 2 specials, which means that you could actually use them both to double stack your reload, which means the next round, because you don't have another turn, the next round you can actually fire on the first round without any reload if you wish.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, cool. And Owens is fighting now, so he is going to use his second AP, and he is going to swing at this zombie. This zombie can't actually. Did he have it? Did he have his spear out, or his? I'm going to say he's got his sword and shield out. So this is his attack roll. Oh, so close. But he swings and misses. Hengist, you're up.
Hengist is going to turn and move into the next room.
Cool.
There wasn't any, from memory from last week, there wasn't any zombies in this room, was there?
No, and that's your. Is that as far as you wish to move?
Yeah. And then he's going to use his free action and go, "Come on, lads, let's go. We need to get up on deck."
Excellent. you hear Miko continue to do this chanting behind you, Briggs, but nothing actually happens at all. And that's the end of turn 2. So I think Owen's got none. Who's got action points left?
Hengist does. He's got one left.
And Gully.
Gully has as well.
Okay, Gully, you're up first.
So Gully's going to cast a glance at this body that's on the floor as he makes his way through the door and getting behind Hengist.
Cool. Okay, guys. So that's the end of turn. Hengist, what do you want to do? Sorry, because you've got one as well.
Now that Gully's come through the door, Hengist wants to turn around and close the door. Is there like a bolt or a latch on this side, or?
All of them just have latches on them.
Oh, okay. Well, he's going to. He wants to close the door, and if possible, move something slightly by the door because he remembers there's a body in there.
Excellent.
Is that possible to do in one turn?
That will be your turn. Yeah, that'll be your AP. So you will be facing that door and putting something across it at the end of round 1. So this is round 2 now, guys. Let me just clear everything off from you, and then please roll out your initiative.
No.
14.
What the hell? I only got 13.
A bit rubbish from you.
No. Well, the 1.
Does everybody want to get 13 for once? Let's just all roll.
I got so close to it, but
let's all roll 13.
Dice rolls.
Let the side down.
Right. Okay then. So Owen is going up to the top, and we're going. You guys will go before my super slow zomboids. So that is the order of battle. Okay then. So this is round 2. Combat turn 1. So as expected, Owen will take a swipe with his short sword. And he will miss. And then Gully, you're up.
Are we actually below deck?
If you imagine, can you imagine this? Can you see where I'm pinging?
Yeah.
That's over the top of yours. So
but I can't see any of that. But through this door here,
that goes out onto Owen's deck where he was before.
Right.
So that's where you actually came onto the boat.
Okay, so knowing where he is now, Gully, and hearing Hengist say, get out onto the deck, Gully is going to make his way out and come through this door onto deck.
Okay. Okay, so as you come through the door, Gully, you notice to your left, then there is one of these staggering zomboids that is actually heading towards Owen. It's actually here. You figure it's come out of the door further up. You see the door here.
Okay.
You think it came out of there.
Can Gully end his turn by moving away from the doorway that he's
you can use your movement. You can use your
right.
Yeah.
So
have you used all your movement?
I can walk 6. So
yeah.
I mean,
so the meters.
Right, okay, so he'll stand to one side, just clearing the doorway.
Yeah, that's absolutely cool. Yeah, so that's absolutely fine. Right, Hengist, you are up.
Hengist will turn around and make his way through the door onto the main deck, and then he's going to position himself slightly, slightly in front of Gully, and sort of like as he comes through, bursts through the door, sort of like with sword and shield in hand. He's going to have a quick scan of the deck and take in all the threats and roughly where they are, and that's why he's standing in front of Gully to protect him.
Right. Okay then.
For the moment, anyway.
Yeah. So that'll be your movement. Okay then. So next up will be zombies. So this is my attack on Owen. So he sort of like goes like that, and it does sort of like skims off. It misses altogether, or just skims off. Whatchamacallit, Owen's shield. This zombie, after being hit by the is sort of like heading towards you, Briggs, and it doesn't sort of like almost like realise that he's just sort of like is totally focused on you. And it's just sort of like coming out. It almost like doesn't realise that there's a huge gap in between the boats at all, and it just sort of like gets to the end, and it's sort of like climbing up onto the sort of like the side of the boat at the end of its round. Briggs, you're up.
Okay. Seeing that he's doing this, he's got his arrow primed and ready to fire again.
Yeah.
As he's exhaling on his last breath to shoot, he's gonna unleash hell.
Oh my god!
Nice.
He unleashes hell. Oh my god!
So you actually have one special. So do your attack roll first. Do your where it's going to hit him first. Yeah. Okay.
Right in the three, right leg.
So that's going into his right leg. So
no, it's not. He rolled a d6. He rolled his damage rather than.
All right.
His,
So roll your d20
D4.
first. D20 first.
D20.
Yeah, to see where it hits.
I knew that.
Oh, 19. You're on
right
fire
ahead.
today.
Completely in its head. So now you can roll your damage.
That's the D4, yeah.
Yeah, a D6.
Oh,
Is it
the three?
Is it a D6 or D4 you roll for your bow?
Should be able just to hit your bow big in the
Okay, so that's 3 points of damage. Right. Okay then. So you have an option because you've got one special this time. Okay. So these are sort of like your ranged weapons specials that I'm talking to you about, rather than bleed and impale, etc. So you can, if you wish, immediately take cover. Okay, because you can behind the sort of like the side of the ship. You can move the hit location one step, but to an adjoining area. But being in the head, that's probably not the best part to do it.
Yeah.
You can, if you wish, reduce your reload time by 1. Or you can, if you wish, drop the foe. If the target gets at least a minor wound from the shot, which it has, it will roll its endurance versus your 25. Failure, it will become incapacitated, unable to continue to fight.
Does he also have the option to? Is it an impale or something when he rolls his damage again?
He can roll his if his weapon has impale, then it tends not to be on arrows.
Right.
It tends to be handheld weapons.
I thought I had impale on this. On
The
arrow.
If the arrow says that it's got impale, you can do that. Yeah. Let me just check. Oh, is it a short bow?
It is a short bow. Yes.
Yeah. So if you choose to spend it with impale, then you would roll the damage again, and then we'll take the highest one, and then it would start to actually do damage to him. So you have the choice. You either drop the foe, they do an endurance roll opposed roll against your 25, and if they fail, they're incapacitated. You can duck behind cover. You can rapid reload, or as Chuggerwugger says, you can impale.
Yeah, can I do the impale?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Roll your dice again then.
So that's the D4. Yeah.
A D6.
No, D6 damage.
Yeah.
Damage. 6.
Yeah, not a problem. So that's gone from 4. Yeah, okay then. So it's going to take. It now has to do a. Hang on, because I've written it down. I've been super good now.
You've got a zombie in the background of you, Big.
She's dancing.
I've seen it. It's scary.
So it's now got a serious wound in its head. So it's going to do an endurance check against your initial roll. So this is an endurance check. So that fails. So it actually, the zombie is now incapacitated. It's actually stunned. It's unconscious for the number of minutes per your damage. So it's stunned for 6 minutes. So that's virtually out of the fight. Okay, where are we up to? Oh yes, Miko. She's doing a chanting. Oh yes, excellent. Okay, so all of a sudden, Briggs, you almost like feel this breath of fresh air sort of like enter you, and you notice that your eyesight becomes somewhat keener on your as you're looking through your own eyes. It's almost like something has entered you, and for a moment you almost like feel a flap of wings, and just for a split second it actually looks like you grow what appears to be some kind of bird of prey beak just for a second, and then you notice that your eyes seems to focus a lot more. Just to let you know, you now get +1 when you roll your dice. Okay, this is now turn 2, I think. Yeah. So Owen's up first. This is Owen's to hit roll. Yeah, so he whacks the zombie quite nicely.
Do you want me to roll the hit location or anything?
No, I've got it. He would do it in the 14.
No.
His right arm with his, so he whacks it with his right arm, the zombie's right arm with the sword, and I think he does a 1d6 with it. Yeah, there we go. 4 points. Yeah, the zombie's going to try to parry this, but actually fumbles. Okay, so actually takes the additional damage onto his own arm. Okay, and the Owen's sword goes right the way through the zombie's arm, and you actually almost like hear the chink of bone as he whacks into the arm, and you notice that the zombie's arm sort of like is limp at its side as Owen pulls away from it. Gully, you are up.
Seeing Owen engaged in one zombie and another undead human approaching from his left.
Yeah.
Gully is going to use his free action to shout, "Watch out, Owen!" And he's going to start to cast a spell.
Cool. Hengist, you're up.
Hengist is going to move in and attack. Need to hold the zombie right in front of him.
Yeah, you'll need to go either one side or the other side of the mast.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to do the alt and then kept misclicking.
Cool.
Yeah, so that side, and then he's going to attack it.
Excellent.
But gets confused and gets caught on the mast.
Did you miss? Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Zombie time now. So this zombie's got an arm missing, hasn't he? At the moment, the one in front of Owen. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he sort of like leans forward. You notice this zombie lean forward and actually try to take a chunk out of Owen's neck. But Owen manages to move just at the right time and just sort of like moves to one side, and you just sort of like hear this snap of air, and you think the zombie probably actually lost some teeth in that bite as well. Briggs, you're up.
Okay, Briggs is gonna turn his attention to the zombie on the deck.
Which one?
The one that's on my ship. Is that this one here?
No, your ship, is it?
My ship. It's my ship.
Yeah, on their ship, you're going to have to move to get a because you're up on the high deck, and there's this deck, and then there's this deck underneath it. So you're going to have to move to about here on your ship in order to get actually probably to here because of the mast. Because can you see the mast? That this is the mast, which is shielding it somewhat. So you probably have to move this turn in order to get a better shot.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I'll do then. I'm going to move, but I'm not. Yeah.
You're not on the ship. I'm just moving you so you can actually see it.
Right. Okay.
Is that where you want to be?
Yeah. If that's giving me a clear.
Yeah, it's not bad. You probably maybe there is probably slightly better. Mika's dithering and leaving it out. Okay, so turn 3 if anybody's got action points left.
Yep.
Yeah.
In which case, it's Gully, you're first.
Okay, so with his arm outstretched, which holds his disc, which he's using to focus his magic through, Gully is still casting his spell, but it's a bit strange this time because people have seen before that the sort of like the grey smoke starts coming out the middle of this focus. But what's happening now is that as it comes out, it actually has started to split into 2 separate trails of smoke.
Cool.
Which are both heading out towards the zombies which are fighting Owen.
Yeah, got you. And Hengist, then, you're up.
Hengist, not being deterred by his previous failure, he is going to ready himself another swing with his sword.
Nice one.
I'll roll hit occasions. 1d20. It's 13.
Yeah, cool.
And then...
So that's his right arm.
10.
Which sounds a bit sensible because it's right next to you.
Yeah.
How much damage, sorry?
10.
10. So that will actually, because he's only got 3 on it, so his maximum thing is 3, which will actually therefore sever it. Now he has to make. He also has to make a endurance check against that.
Because I is it critted? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I get to? Is there an option to change hit locations? Or is that only for
what special attacks do you have?
Oh, is it just the ones I've got on my sword?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm not going to bother them. No, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. You can impale it if you wish. Let me just do. I need to do an endurance roll first. Yeah, so he fails the endurance roll, so it actually means that he's this zombie is actually unconscious now and lying dead on the floor minus an arm as he hits the deck.
That's good,
okay,
that's my max damage.
Cool. So is that everybody done for that?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Gully has
Correct,
finished.
Okay, so this is round 3. Let me just delete everybody. Round 3. Yeah, go for it. This is this one. I got my zombie selected now.
Sorry, guys, I let the side down.
All you had to do was roll a 16.
I don't think I can roll a 16.
You freaking fired, Bob.
Sorry, I'm controlling about 4 characters at the moment. Okay. Right. What have we got? Zombies going first, I think. Miko's going there. And that's it. Yeah. Okay then. So that's zombie 1's out of it. Zombie 2 is going to try to bite Owen again. That actually hits, so Owen will try to parry with his shield. And actually parries
Ooh.
it. Need that. Small. Yeah, so he actually blocks the attack completely with his shield. So the zombie sort of like launches itself, and he just sort of like puts his shield up, and it just sort of like chews on metal, and that's absolutely it. You know, there's a nice clanking sound as the zombie eats metal. Gully, you're up.
Okay, so Gully finishes casting his spell.
Cool.
He's still one of these smoking tendrils has headed to the one that Owen is fighting, but he's also sending the other one to the zombie that's just fallen down. He doesn't know whether or not it's dead or not.
They'll come around to it, yeah.
But he's going to send it. He's going to send it onto it. So this is his his invocation. Which both of these smoking tendrils wrap around the zombies. The one that Owen is fighting, it wraps around his abdomen.
Yeah, cool.
And he takes 5 points of damage, but you can resist this.
Yeah. What is it? An endurance?
I'll give you the I'll just give you the basic thing.
Evade.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. He doesn't.
Okay, so he takes...
his evade skill is 10. So, so how much does he take?
So this is at intensity 5.
Yeah, so 9 points.
So he takes 1 point to his abdomen.
Ouch. Oh, that's harsh.
I know. And on the other zombie, the one that's just fallen with his arm cut off, that comes in onto his chest.
Oh, that's miles better.
And again, you see a sort of like a almost like a crackling of electricity as this smoke tendril wraps around his chest.
Yeah. And does how much that? Oh,
2 points.
Yeah, so you saw it almost like wraps around his chest and almost like delivers this sort of like shock of electricity. And Hengist, you suddenly realise that it's almost like acted like a defibrillator. And it's not like this zombie. No, it doesn't. Sorry, I just thought it would be.
Gets back up and starts.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Right. Briggs, you're up.
Okay. Briggs, with his confidence that he's just he's hit something twice.
He's reloading his bow.
Reloading his bow.
Yeah. Mika is dithering. So Hengist, you're up.
Hengist is going to take a step over the unconscious zombie, and he's going to move into combat range of the other zombie there, assuming that there isn't another zombie that he can see.
Yeah, cool. So Owen will whack out at this zombie that he's just deflected the attack and misses. And therefore we're on to turn 2, guys. Turn 2. So zombie goes first. Yeah, zombie still has 1. So this is his bite going at Owen again. Actually hits. Owen actually doesn't have any action points left. If you remember, he parried the last one and then he's hit. So he doesn't actually have any points of action points left. So he will actually have to take the zombie attack, which will be 2 points of damage to his 14. Oh, yes.
14.
No, that makes sense because that's his right arm. 14. 2 points of damage. So that actually clinks off his armor in that location. He's actually got 3 points of armor in that location. So that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. Gully, you're up.
Quick question about Gully. And I understand that we're in round 3, but as far as Gully's fatigue goes, was the first round that they were just moving, was that classed as a combat?
Technically,
a combat situation.
Technically, it would be.
Okay,
because,
so I'm going to roll my...
Just so you know, because I think what would happen as soon as the shout went out, adrenaline would be pumping. And if you think about it, you're sort of like, you weren't sort of like going da 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 da. You were charging through those doors. I mean, each round is 5 seconds, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
So we're only up to 15 seconds.
It's hypothetical because even if I was fatigued, my attack last time would have hit due to.
Yeah.
But what I'll do is it's on endurance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll just roll my endurance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's endurance.
Okay,
yeah, so that's absolutely fine.
I've succeeded in an endurance roll, everybody.
Well done.
Thank you. And for Gully's attack, with a gesture of his outstretched hand with the disc on, he is going to move it backwards, and as he does that, the tendrils of smoke unwrap itself from the zombie that Owen's fighting. And as Gully pushes his hand forward again, the tendrils again shoot out, and this time they actually wrap around the 14, his right arm.
Zombie's right arm, yeah.
Yeah, which he can...
So that's the right arm again, yeah.
Yeah, he can try to evade it again.
Oh, yeah, sorry, cool. Evade... No.
Okay, and as it wraps around his hand, and again there's another crackle of this electricity, he takes 2 points of damage.
Okay, so that puts him down to 0 on it. So he's got a serious wound now. So he has to do an endurance check again on that. Otherwise, it will become useless at his size, and he fails that. So his right arm is now useless. So yeah, as it sort of like crackles round, you actually hear the bone snapping in its arm, and then all of a sudden it's the only thing that is actually holding it up now is the black smoke and the electricity. It's just sort of like flying around there.
Okay, and on the other one, it unravels and then wraps around its leg.
Cool.
Its left leg, and again it does 1 point of damage. Gully's going to use his free action, and he's going to shout, "Separate the boats!"
Yeah, okay then, cool. Okay, Briggs, you're up. Are you reloading still? Because you've had one round, you'll need another round to reload it. Another turn, sorry. Or unless you want to do something else.
Hearing Gully shout, like, separate the boats, he's gonna run over and try and unhook these hooks that have grabbed onto the...
You need to... Do you mean you're going onto the zombie boat?
Which did we hook onto their boat, did we?
We did, yeah.
So our sailors went over and hooked it and pulled it towards us. So if you want to start unhooking them, you'll need to jump. You'll just need to jump across and then start unhooking them, or the sailors can start to just drop the rope. It's up to you what you wish to do.
Well, he was going to come over and put his bow away, pull his sword out. I know there's actions, but he was going to like chop away at the rope. But... Right.
So he on this action, he can sort of like get across onto this side of onto the same boat as the rest of the crew, and then the party, and then at your next round, on round 4, you can start pulling off. You can probably just start to unhook them rather than chopping the rope. They're not sort of like firmly attached. Mika, Diva, Hengist, you up?
Hengist is going to take another swing at the zombie.
Cool.
Because it's been battering Owen for a while. No, it doesn't.
Hengist is lost.
Sorry to interrupt, but how many rounds has it been for the zombie that was incapacitated?
It's been something like 20 seconds. It's out for 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's out for quite a while. Yeah. So Owen can't do anything because he's used up his AP. So who's got APs left?
Hengist.
And Gully. Yeah. So Gully, you go first.
Again, these tendrils are still in effect, and Gully is going to draw his hand back holding the disc and then shoot it forward again as the tendrils unravel and again try to wrap around the zombie.
Cool.
This time it goes for the one that's currently engaged in Owen. It wraps around his head this time.
Yeah.
You do get a chance to evade.
Thank you. No.
And as they wrap around his neck and crackle, he takes 5 points of damage.
Okay, which actually knocks him into a serious wound. Okay, so he will do another endurance check against your attack. What was your attack? Your initial attack?
My initial attack was 20.
No, it's all right. He's failed in any case. So therefore, your tendrils actually go around and sort of like wrap around his head, and there's a sort of like this crackling thing, and you sort of like feel from your side of the magic that you feel his skull sort of like crack somewhat, and the zombie falls down to the ground.
And on the other one, it wraps around his left arm and hits for 4 points of damage.
Yeah, cool.
And that's Gully's turn over with.
Yeah, I think that. Hengist, you're the only person who still has.
Hengist does, doesn't he? Seeing that the zombie in front of him's dropped, he's going to turn his back on it and say, "Everyone back on the ship." And then he's going to use the rest of his turn to dither.
Cool. So at that point, I mean, obviously, what's going to happen now is that the people, the sailors are going to, you can start to unhook this side of the ship with the grappling hooks, and you can sort of like get back over to your own side. In preparation for the ships to be separated. Anything else that you would like to do? I'm just going to move you back onto your ship.
We went across with both Owen and Gully went across with torches.
Yeah.
Sorry, not torches, with lanterns.
Yeah.
Can the lanterns be smashed on the deck, spreading some oil with the chance that they could then be lit to actually burn the boat?
Yeah, the major part of that is that the word oil. So Captain Seacrest has some oil, that all ships buy and have in any case. So we're spreading some oil on the deck and then either firing arrows over or crashing the lanterns over will actually make sure that the deck actually catches on fire. And so like it will set on fire with the oil, and then it will become almost like a glowing beacon for some time as the boat or the ship burns and sets on fire, and the Seacrest is just sort of like more under sail now and drifts off towards Lindo, and even throughout the night you can almost like look back, and your feeling has gone, by the way, Briggs, and even if you look back every now and again, it seems that there was probably more of these undead or dying sailors there, because you can actually see them on fire coming up to the deck and almost like plopping overboard as if they knew they were on fire and wanted to get off the boat, and they're just sort of like coming up and then just sort of like flopping over, almost like sizzling into the sea. And the boat's no longer moving. It just sort of like appears to be stationary, but it's quite a blaze now.
You ruined it. Briggs was going to ask to do that as the ship was going away. He was going to get his arrow out and go, light it! And then fire an arrow off.
You all have you all have a copy of the rule book, don't you? That I sent you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you look up your offensive special effects, then you should know what you do. Because I was just scanning it down here, and for example, with a sword, it depends whether or not you critical or not. So if the attacker criticals, for example, you can bypass armor, which means that you find a gap in the defender's natural or worn armor, and the attacker picks one of the natural worn armors to bypass. So physical protection gained from magic is not considered. If you critical with your attack roll, you can choose locations. If you critical with your attack roll, and the attacker can completely bypass the parry. And then if you critically attack, you can substitute 1 damage dice with its full value. So you can actually pin a weapon if the attacker attacks crits. So it's worth having. I mean, I've got them all out here, but it's just sort of like 2 complete sides, or 2.5 sides of A4 paper. So it'll be worth having a look at it. I think on yours, Briggs, I actually wrote them all out for you, I think. I thought.
Yes, you did it a couple of adventures ago.
Yeah, so it says impale, rapid reload, marksman, drop the foe, duck back, pin down. That's everything. So do have a look in the rule book and sort of like see the ones that you can actually do, because there are when you attack, and then there are some when.
But it's not specific to the weapon that you're using, is it?
Some of them are. Some of them are, but then there's some that are actually. So, for example, you can't stun location with a sword. It has to be a blunt. Bash can only be done with shields or bludgeoning weapons. Bleed can only be done with cutting weapons. Sunder can only be done by 2-handed weapons. Okay, but there's the important one is that there's a whole load that I don't know if you can see my list, but I've got in orange at the top. That is all to do with criticals. So it's worth going and having a look at it and sort of like thinking. So it's worth you knowing, so you can sort of like say, this is what I'm going to do. If it's stackable, it means if you've got 2, you can double it up. So hence when Briggs got a critical, he automatically gets 2. So his rapid reload is stackable.
Right.
So he can actually put them both together to get an instant new shot, and then that's it. Cool. Okay then. Is there anything else that you would like to do?
If we're continuing on the actual sea voyage again, Gully is going to he's looking for an opportunity to actually talk with Miko. He knows that she spends a lot of the time locked away in her cabin. So again, like he did previous time when everybody was talking after.
Do you want to talk to her alone? Because currently, you've just done all the burning, so she's actually out on. Out.
No, he's actually waiting for a time to actually.
Okay, yeah.
Talk to her alone.
Yeah.
So what he's going to do? He's going to. If the voyage is continuing, he's going to keep going past her cabin door, and he's going to listen to see whether or not he can hear her inside. I think last time I don't think he could actually hear her, or he could hear her snoring. She was asleep. But if the situation arises and he can hear her, i.e. moving about or anything, then he wants to actually knock on the door to see to see whether or not he gets an answer.
Yeah, you sort of like arrange. You sort of like walk past a few times, and you hear sort of like nothing at all. But one time, as you walk by, you actually hear it almost like pottering around.
Okay, so Gully's going to knock on the door, and he's going to say, "Mistress Miko, it's Gulliver."
And it's really interesting because she answers you straight away, and she says, "Come in, Gulliver."
So Gully's going to go in, and he's going to take in his his surroundings, because he's never been in this room before.
Yeah, it tends to be just like a normal below deck cabin. The only thing that you notice is that it smells very much of incense in here, and it's somewhat cloudy. The atmosphere is somewhat cloudy, as if she's been burning something, probably incense, or you're not too sure, but there might even be the faint smell of animal dung wafting around the place. You also notice that it's not the most tidiest places. You know, the bed is not made, and there's some robes sort of like just discarded, and it looks like she's been looking through a chest of clothes, and that Captain Seatide probably provided for her, and everything's pulled out and just sort of like lying everywhere. She's probably not the most tidiest person around. She sort of like looks at you and sort of like says, "Come in, little Gulliver. Come in."
Gully's going to go in, and he's going to say, "Mistress Miko, what did you mean when you said we had taken our time? And had you been waiting for us? And you knew me, and you knew."
"I know all of you. And yes, I've been sat in that boat for ages. I tell you."
"How did you did you row?"
Well, she sort of like looks herself up and down, and she sort of says, "Me? Row? Nah, I don't do rowing, Gulliver. I'm not a rower. Look at me. I'm an old lady."
So what did you mean when you said you'd been waiting for us? Or you said we had took our time, and so had you been waiting for us? Because Master Healy said that everything comes to those who wait.
I had been waiting for you, and I waited and waited. I thought you would get here a lot quicker than what you did.
Well, we had to stop on an island because Captain Seatide wanted to get an amulet from there, so we had to go there, and then we got attacked by painted men.
What island would that be?
It was Vomcombs.
Vomcays.
I know it was, yes, but that's what he's going to say.
That's an evil place. Vomcays Island is an evil place.
It was evil. There was painted men, and there was an elephant with tusks.
You shouldn't have gone there, young Gulliver.
I
should not have gone onto that island.
I killed the multi-armed woman on there.
Doesn't matter what you killed. That's not a good place to be. Lindo will be more suitable for us.
But why were you waiting for us?
To join up with you. To be part of this group of people.
Are you going on Hengist's quest to kill the two-headed snake? And it doesn't have a head on either side. It's actually a tail and then two heads.
That remains to be seen.
Can I ask one more question, and then I'll let you get on to tidying your room?
By all means, young Gulliver.
Can you read?
Of course. Can you not?
No. No. Master Healy never got around to actually teaching me how to read.
Something you may want to work on. And she sort of like reaches out and sort of like ruffles your hair. And you turn to sort of like leave, and she says, "Oh, Gulliver, I have something for you."
Yes, Mistress Miko.
And you turn around, and she seems to be almost like fiddling about in a pouch. The pouch is open, and it's sort of like hanging from her belt. And she seems to be flicking through things in it. And then she goes, there it is. And she takes something out that she's holding in her hand and then reties the pouch. And she says, come here. Put your hand out, Gulliver.
Gully will look a bit dubious and say, it's not a special throwing stone, is it?
Don't be afraid, Gulliver. Put your hand out.
It's a Worthington's.
Gully will put both his hands out.
And she opens her hand, and from it seems to drop what appears to be almost like a desiccated small bird's leg. You know, it seems to be totally dry, but it still has its form, and you can still quite clearly see its skin and its tiny claws. There's no blood or anything in it at all. And she just like drops it into your hand, and she says, keep it safe, Gulliver.
Gully will sort of like look at it and say, I don't have to eat it, do I?
Keep it safe. Keep it close to you, and it will always help you.
Gully will sort of like look at it and then look back at Miko, and he'll say, thank you, Mistress Miko. And he'll put it in his tunic, and he'll go out, and he shall close the door quietly behind him.
As you just about to go out, she turns around to you and she just says one last thing. She says, sleep well, Gulliver, for tomorrow you will see Lindo for the first time.
Gully's really excited about that.
Yeah. And I suggest at that point we take a quick 5-minute break before the ship sails into Lindo. It's slightly before the hour and a half, I know, but it seems a good place to take the break rather than waiting and then finding that we're slightly behind time. So we'll take a quick 5-minute break there, guys. And then we will be back very shortly. So please do not go. I'm just making sure everything's working. Yeah, so please do not go away. And we are back promptly, dead on that time. Let me just do that. Make sure I've turned that off. Make sure I turned you guys on, which is good. Okay, so is there anything else that anybody would like to do? Thank you.
No, I mean Gully's going to potter around deck. He's going to help out in the infirmary where he can because of the sailors. If he gets a chance, he's going to. He wants to have a look below deck because he was intrigued about what Captain Tide was saying about that the final part of their employment contract would be to have to take certain items.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like he's going to do a bit of snooping. He wants to have a look when he can through various rooms below deck and see whether or not he can find anything out of the ordinary, which Captain Tide might have been referring to.
I was going to say, who's Audrey?
Out of the ordinary, which Captain Tide may have been referring to. But he wants to do it in a way that it doesn't arouse suspicion.
Okay.
And he also wants, at some point before they get there, he wants to have a closer look at this and this shriveled foot thing that Miko's given him. And
Okay. Well, let's do. Okay then. So I've got that. Briggs and Hengist. Is there anything that you guys would like to do?
Briggs would like to have a look around, see if there's anything that he can use to make some arrows. So
Okay.
that's part of his skills. So
Yeah.
He wants to top up his arrows.
Okay.
How many do you have left?
I have a pouch left.
A quiver.
A quiver, yeah. And
So they had an idea of this little pouch with all these arrows.
I've got about 5 left. There's another sheet somewhere. I think I fired some arrows off from that.
That's fine. And Hengist, is there anything you would like to do?
The first thing Hengist would have done after the combat is he would have gone back down to his cabin, taken his armor off, make sure it was all polished and no rust on it, done the same for his sword. And then in the time, apart from sleeping and eating, in the time it takes between then and getting to Lindo, he would have lent a hand with the sailors, helping them sail the ship, doing whatever needs to be done that requires a bit of strength.
Okay, that's brilliant. Okay then, so just to let you know, Briggs, the ship does actually have arrows on board because some of the sailors do fire them in when they're getting attacked by pirates and whatnot. So you'll be able to update your quiver to the maximum capacity, which I think is 20, but please do check. And
it is, yes.
Gulliver, can you make for me, please, a perception roll?
That is
pretty
beautiful.
good. Yeah, just to let people know who are watching, if you see a star on the roll, that means that the roll is a critical success. If it's an exclamation mark, then it's actually a fumble. The interesting thing is, as they level the players, if the characters, if they get a fumble, they automatically get one. They make a note of it, because when we actually do experience points, then they actually automatically get a skill increase. But that is pretty good. That is okay. You notice Gulliver down below deck. You're sort of like snooping around down there, and you notice that there's several crates. And what you do notice is that you think probably throughout the storm that you survived, that one of the crates has been almost like bashed against another crate. And you can see that some of the paneling has actually come off. And when you look inside, it just seems to be full of like silver objects. Almost like, and they're also like wrapped up in like straw, and you can see sort of like the tail end of a candlestick and a goblet in there and a plate in there, and you sort of like think, oh, what's this? And you're just about to reach inside when you hear the door opening, so you quickly just sort of like pretend that you're cleaning, or wiping things down, and then sort of like head back out again.
Okay. And what about his mummified foot?
Right. Do you have any appropriate skills that you would like to use on it?
He wants to see whether or not the bits move. Do you know sometimes when you get a chicken leg and you can move something?
No, there's no tendon. I mean, it's I said, it's completely desiccated. It's completely dried out. It's all the moisture has left it. There's no sort of like it almost like feels that if you squash it too hard, it might break the bones. But it's almost like it's been preserved in some kind of pickling.
He's going to smell it.
Yeah. Do you have any suitable knowledge skill, any law skill that could be used?
No, he's not trying to work out what it does or anything like that. He's just intrigued by what he's been given.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to work out why he would have been given it.
And roll your insight.
Insight.
Yeah, insight. No. Yeah, you really don't have any idea, you maybe because you got chicken legs. You know, you sort of like look at your legs and sort of think, oh yes, they are a bit thin and weedy. You know, maybe she's making fun, or maybe she just wanted to give you something. I mean, you remember what was in the cabin, and really and truly, it was better than something that smelt a bit like.
Does it look like he could actually do some pranks with it? Do you think he could hold it so that it was coming out of his arm and then sort of like go up and prod Briggs on the back, and when he turns around, he could go.
It's more like a bird's foot.
Oh, right.
You know, like maybe a crow or a pigeon. So it's not sort of like a chicken's or a raptor's foot. It's more sort of like a medium-sized bird's.
Okay, well he's going to put it back in his tunic because apart from Master Healy, this is the first thing he's ever been given by anybody else.
Yeah, which is very, very true. It gets to about midday of the following day, and sort of like you've also like been looking around, and then all of a sudden you're sort of like busying yourself on the deck, and Gulliver's looking out, and all of a sudden roll 20 crashes.
Ours is okay.
Mm.
I'll come back in now. It always does.
No, you're not allowed back in now.
You notice that Mika comes out on deck, and she's sort of like almost like prettying herself up, and she's sort of like she has her staff with her with her feathers dangling from it, and a pouch and her robes on, and she says, "Oh, it'd be good to be on dry land again." And as the boat goes round a pinnacle of land, a peninsula of land, you suddenly notice that there's a huge walled town there. That is obviously Lindo. I'm going to show you the map.
Gully's going to run to the front of the boat and try to get as close to the front as he can.
Yeah.
And then he's going to turn around to the others, and because he's heard other people say it, he's going to point and he's going to say, "Land ho! Land ho!"
Yeah, all the sailors go. You notice that Lucky comes wobbling out, and he sort of like says, he says, 56 journey without incident. I must be very lucky. And wobbles off with just one leg and one ear and half an arm.
And half a tongue.
Half a tongue, yeah. If you look round, I'm showing you the map just so you can get a rough idea of what you're coming into. Can you all see it, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this part up here seems to be some kind of a walled keep. It's not a castle. This part here is almost like a big house.
Is it raised or not?
Yeah, this is on a huge elevated part of land, which is actually this part here is almost level, but it is a slight incline to it. This, as you can see, it's walled right the way round. You seem to be coming into the dock area here. This is where you seem to be coming in. But as you pass sort of like through this part, you can see in this area, there appears to be sort of like some very big fighting ships. You can see they're bristling with cannons. All the sails are down. But it seems to be flying a flag. And they all have the same flag up on up the mast, and it seems to be I'm just checking so I don't give you the wrong it seems to be on it, they all seem to be blue, and then on it is actually two sky blue dolphins jumping, almost like they're following each other. So it's sort of like a real sort of like dark blue, and then this sky blue twin dolphins coming onto it.
Compared to where we've been before or where we left?
This is massive.
Is it? Is it sort of like going...
It's a bit like going from something small. Your place was even, say, smaller than... It was just like a town. And this appears to be somewhat of a city. Notice that this area here... I don't know if you can see it. This is higher up. So there's quite a bit of elevation between this tower and that tower. And you can see in that area there's some mighty big houses up there. It's obviously almost like the fine clientele up there. It's not sort of like any riffraff. These little places down here appear to be sort of like little sheds, almost, that you assume that is sort of like is a house, houses, and this is a massive gatehouse, and the gates are open. The Seacrest actually sort of like comes into dock like that.
As it's coming in, Gully's going to have been running sort of like backwards and forwards along the deck, and to get a good view of everything as it's coming in. And occasionally he's going to stop and he's going to turn around and he's going to say things like, Hengist, look at those ships! Look at those ships over there! Look, they've got big fish on them. Or he's going to point to the gatehouse and he's going to say to Briggs, he's going to say, look at that, Briggs, look at that gatehouse, or look at those big houses up there. He's going to be really excited, and he's just going to be sort of like dashing down the deck.
And as you sort of like dash backwards and forwards and sort of like calling out things, you notice that Captain Sea Tide sort of like says to you, Gully, he said, you notice he's looking up at the big the big walled house or manor, shall we call it, and he sort of like says that be where the Count lives. Count Bastion lives up there. He's in charge of Lindo.
Does he own it?
Oh, yes. He owns the whole of Lindo. He takes the taxes from everyone.
He must have loads of money.
He certainly does, young Gulliver. He has loads of money.
Do you think we'll get to meet him?
No.
Does he take visitors?
No. Your time
looks
here...
a bit disappointed with that.
But he just
says, soon perks up when he sees some more big houses.
And he sort of like the Captain Seacrest sort of like points over to the high up part of the town, and sort of says, "Oh, that be where the well-to-do people live up there. The well-to-do people, far above you and I, young chap." Far above you and I.
Gully said, one day though, Mr. Captain Seatide, I'm going to have enough gold to be able to buy one of those houses. And when I do, you can come and visit me when you're in port.
He just sort of like laughs. Yeah, go
Hengist, throughout all of that conversation between Gully and Captain Seatide, would have been fairly nearby, doing some sort of simple job. But the first thing he would have looked at would have been the banners. And seeing that they don't fly the two-headed snake that he's searching for would sort of like take a slight disinterest.
Yeah.
But with the recent conversation between Captain Seatide and Gully talking about the Count and the well-to-do people, and that not sort of like mixing with us lot, a half smirk will appear on his face, but will vanish pretty quickly.
Cool. Because
obviously he knows that himself that he's a fairly well-to-do person
very much
by birth.
So the Seacrest sort of like comes into the pier and just sort of like stops and gets hooked up and sort of like tethered to the pier, and Captain Sea Tide sort of like calls you all over, and he says, "Well, guys," he says, "it's been a good voyage here, and
it has, hasn't it?
And I've decided to let you off here." And he takes out the pieces of paper that you know and you remember signing beforehand. And he says, "I release you from your contracts now. Well done." And he sort of like takes almost like a flint and he whacks it against a stone, and there's a puff of flame, and you watch the contracts just sort of like disappear, which is you recognize is the normal procedure here. When your contract is over and done with, it just gets burnt, so there's no legal matter. And he says, and of course, he said, you'll be wanting this. And he reaches out and he gives you each a small pouch. And as soon as it goes into your hand, you can tell it's money. And he sort of like says, as arranged. And you notice that just for you, because you, rather than counting it all, you know that there's 50 silver pieces in the pouch. And he says, now, he says, what you be doing with yourselves when you lead my ship? It's really interesting because you notice that the pronoun has changed. Beforehand it was the ship or our ship, and now it's his ship.
Gully's going to go sort of like really close to Captain Seatide, and he's going to say, do you not want us to take things off the ship anymore for you, like you said?
He says, no, lad. He says, off you go. Where will you be going?
Hengist will say, unless anything else happens, I'm going to start my search for the reason why I came here.
He says,
Gully's going to say, I'm going to go exploring.
Well, he says, something that you...
I wonder whether or not they have cheese shops.
He says, something that you might be ready for. He says, as you enter Lindo, you have to pass through the gates. And the guards there will ask your business. They will say, why are you visiting Lindo? He said, so...
And what should we say?
Well, he says, be prepared. Be prepared for what they say. And he's sort of like, the gangplank goes down and you're sort of like ushered off onto the pier and into Lindo. And it's quite a bustling town. You know, that there's people coming in and out. You notice across all these piers, there's big ships coming in and there's cargo being taken off and cargo being picked up. And there's lots of bartering and haggling going on about prices, etc. That doesn't seem to be happening on the sea crest, you know, on the wave crest side, but it seems to be around the other thing. But you have just arrived. You also notice that there's several well-dressed guards walking up and down. Obviously, the city militia. They seem to be wearing chainmail, and they have a blue tabard over the top of them. And then you notice on their left, sort of like breast, they have like these twin sky blue dolphins jumping in unison just on their side. They seem to be...
Are we still on the wave crest, or are we off it now?
You're on the pier. You're on the pier.
Right. Is Captain Seatide still with us?
No, you're by yourselves
okay.
now. They seem to be carrying spears and swords. They have spears. Everyone has a spear in their hand, and they seem to have swords at their hips as well. You also,
again, compared to where we left, are these militia a lot better armed, a lot better armoured?
Miles better. The place that you've probably come from would have had like leather or maybe even padded armour. So there's obviously some money in here. And you do notice, I mean, along this dock area, you've at least seen 6. So 3 pairs. And there's definitely 2 people at the guardhouse that you can see. There's this wonderful, almost like seagull sound in the background, and there's a fresh air. But even though there's plenty of sea air, you do almost like smell squalor and dirt and almost like rotting food, etc. And you suddenly realise that this Lindo is a place of extremes. You know, there's obviously the very rich. that are living in wonderful splendor, and yet there's also perhaps a huge amount of the population who are very poor and raggedy and really don't have a lot of cash at all. You even notice men and women that are obviously selling themselves on street corners, and you even notice that there's several sort of like dark alleys here that you're not even going down, because they almost like seem to exhibit some kind of nastiness, whether or not it be the slight moaning of people or just the almost like people gangs of youths or young men and women just like stood around. You do notice that most people carry some sort of weapon. It's not a weaponless society, and so you think actually carrying your weapons will be absolutely fine. And it's with that you head off up to the just before you leave the ship, Captain Seatide shouts to you of the thing, and he says, "You'll be needing accommodation." He says, "Go to the Hairy Hobgoblin. Mention my name. They'll give you a good deed. A good deal." And then he busies himself and goes below deck and disappears.
Did Miko disembark with us as well?
Yeah, she's with you. She's sort of like coming along with her little with her staff, muttering to herself.
Gully's going to walk by the side of her, and how old is she? Is she really old? He'll take her arm if he needs to, because that's the type of thing he used to have to do with Master Healy, especially when he was going up and downstairs to the.
Yeah, you sort of like link arms with her, and she goes, "Oh, thank you, Gulliver. Thank you." And you head down to the main gate, probably in search of accommodation for the first night. It's coming up to about 3:00 in the afternoon, so you know that you're going to have to find accommodation for the evening. And as you get
as Gully's walking down there, every time he passes a lady, especially the young ladies, he's going to go, "Hello, hello." And if they sort of like say anything back to him, he's going to go, "I'm Gully."
No, they tend to look at you and giggle.
He'll still say hello to anyone that he sees.
One of them shouts back at you. She says, "Come back when you're a man." Like that, so sort of like shouts back at you as she comes across.
Hengist is going to be walking behind Gully and Miko. Yeah, Miko. He's not wearing his armor. His armor's in his backpack.
What kind of armor is it?
It's each well, as much of it as you can. It's each separate piece, so that it's iron plate.
Right.
Off the top of my head, I have written it down somewhere. So as much as you can.
Most of it's going to have to be strapped to it, because I mean the chest plate alone is going to be massive.
Well, in that
you could have it on your backpack. You could be like a turtle if you fell over.
In that case, he's wearing his chest plate, but his vambraces, but his pauldrons. He's wearing his greaves as well, but his pauldrons he's not wearing. They're in his backpack, and his helmet is hanging off the side of his backpack. His shield strapped over, and obviously, as you will remember, his armor is all sorts of like although it's iron, it's all enamelled in a dark green, and it's got his family's crest of the white horse on it.
So are you
across the top?
Yeah, Hengist, are you letting Mika and Gulliver take the lead then?
For the moment, yeah. He's walking close behind, but he's going to after a few sort of like little while watching Gully, he's going to hang on. Is Briggs walking? Where's Briggs? Before I do this bit,
Briggs is gonna be sort of like in between you and Gully and Mika, just looking around, like stopping in astonishment, thinking just in wonder how big this place is and how busy this place is.
Okay, he because obviously Briggs is in front of him, after a while he's going to speed up his stride a little bit, catch up with Briggs, nudge him and go, "Gonna have to keep an eye on this one with the ladies."
Briggs nods.
Okay, so who's going to reach who's going to be in the lead when you get to the gatehouse?
If nobody's in front of him, then Gully will be there with Miko.
Okay, cool.
Gully is going to be spending having been living on the streets for a certain part of his life and being involved in some more of the dubious nature on the street. He's going to keep a special care that his valuables remain on his person rather than on anybody else's person.
Understandable.
And occasionally he'll put his hand in his tunic just to make sure that the disc that he uses to channel his spells through is still there.
Yeah. And
as he does so, he probably will also just make sure that his present from Miko is still there.
Okay. So as you approach the gate, so Miko and Gulliver are in the lead, then Briggs and Hengist are behind. And as you approach the gate, you suddenly notice that Owen is no longer with you. And where he's gone or what is you have no idea. He's just doesn't seem to be there. And even when as Gulliver you sort of like look around thinking, where's Owen? Mika just sort of like turns to you and just sort of says, "His path lies different from ours, young Gulliver." And you approach the gatehouse with the two guards on. And the guard seems to have some kind of very primitive parchment out. And it seems to be taking notes. And as Mika arrives with you, Gulliver, they sort of like look up and they look at Mika and they look at you. And the first thing they say is, they almost like nod slightly and say, "Lady Miko," and she says, "It's so glad to be back." And he says, "This is my friend Gulliver."
Gully go, "Hello, I'm Gully."
And he sort of like, the guard looked down at you and he says to you that he sort of like, he takes out his bit of paper and he looks down at you and he sort of says, "Right, lad," he says, "so what's your purpose in Lindo?"
"I'm a messenger."
He writes down messenger.
My master has sent me.
How long will you be staying?
With a message. Well, that depends, because I don't actually know where the person is who I'm delivering the message to. So before I could answer that, I would need to know where he is.
I'll put 1 month. And he writes down
one month. What happens?
What was your previous occupation before coming to Lindo?
Houseboy.
He looks a bit puzzled and then puts houseboy.
What happens at the end of the month?
You can enter.
What happens at the end of the month?
And sort of like Miko sort of like comes in and sort of like ushers you through at the same time, Gulliver. And then
Gully will say to Miko,
"What happens at the end of the month?" He's a bit confused.
And it's Hengist, you're up next. And he sort of says, the guard says, he sort of like looks you up and down and sort of like this bulging backpack and your arm is sort of like cascading off various parts of your body. And sort of like says, he looks slightly puzzled and says, "Purpose in Lindo?"
"I'm searching for my sister."
He sort of like goes, "Length of stay?"
As long as it takes.
I'll put 1 month.
Fine. Thank you very much.
Previous occupation?
Household retainer. So a warrior.
I'll put butler. Butler. He looks up and says, "We'll go in then."
Hengist will follow Miko and going through the vast gates.
You hear some muttering behind you as you go in. He looks at Briggs. Purpose in Lindo?
Briggs is gonna just stand there, take a deep breath, and he's just gonna say, "Quest."
Quest?
He's gonna take another deep breath. Yeah. Ow. Okay. And he's going to turn around and say, "Searching. Family."
Okay. I'll put waster. Right, waster. Length of stay. He sort of like waits for a moment, and just as you taking a deep breath to try to say something, he goes, "I'll put 1 month." He says, "Previous occupation?" He looks you up and down, and just at you sort of like taking a deep breath, and you're just about to say something, he says, "Huntsman." And then lets you in.
But before Gully goes, he's going to go back up to this person. He's going to go, "Excuse me, but could you tell us where the hairy hobgoblin is?"
As you turn around to go up and start saying it, Miko goes, "Come on, Gully, come with me." And she sort of like almost like pulls you away from this place, and it almost like Miko is moving with a sense of purpose, as if she's quite familiar with the roads and the sort of like the environment of Lindo. And you notice that every now and again there's sort of like horse-drawn carriages going down the streets that are quite refined and posh. And also there's almost like those carriers, you know, with a person at the front and the person at the back running, and with the curtains are closed inside and you can't see anything. And you see some women with very long dresses on, almost like with handkerchiefs, sort of like very close to their mouths, and sort of like giggling now and again. And Miko, you go straight through the main gates and you turn right, and at the next crossroads or the T-junction you turn left, and you can see where I've put the number 1 on the map. Can you see that?
Yep, can indeed.
As you get up to there, you notice that there's seems to be a banner, like an inn sign outside, and there's this picture of this sort of like shirtless creature with a very ugly face, with sort of like really black thick hair all over his body, and he's sort of like doing what he seems to be stop motion in some kind of a jig. And he seems to have a tankard in one hand, and he's sort of like he looks like he's just taken a drink out of it, and there's a bit of ale flying all over it. And above and below him is scrawled some letters, and you sort of like look at it and think, not too sure what that says. And Mika says, "Here we are, in we go." And she sort of like opens the door into the tavern. Now, the tavern you will be familiar with.
I'm not.
Looks something like this, and it's quite a busy place. It's full of life, and there's laughter, and there's loads of ale drinking, and there's people laughing and joking, and it seems to be a really sort of like almost like a popular place to be. And you can see on the tables there's a variety of food being eaten and drinks being done. And sure as you walk in, the barman says, "Oh, Mistress Mika, it's so good to have you back." And she sort of like says, "Oh, Basil, it is so nice, so nice." And she sort of like hovels over. I'll put your tokens on just 1 second.
As they're going over, because again, Gully's got his arm in Miko's arm just to give her a bit of support.
Yeah.
And Gully's going to say, "Does everybody know you, Mistress Miko? Because the person at the gate knew you, and now this person behind the bar knew you, and you knew us on the boat. Does everybody know you?"
She sort of like says to you, she sort of like says, "No, now that would be silly, Gulliver. Not everybody can know me at all." And
I haven't met anybody yet who doesn't know you.
And she sort of like hobbles over and sits down at an empty table. And you notice that the barmaid comes across and sort of like puts some kind of bread and cheese in front of her. And what appears to be a glass of, what you think it's just like a glass of red liquid. And
Gully's going to go, "Hello, I'm Gully."
The barmaid sort of like looks at you and says, "And what would you be having?"
"Cheese."
So if you look in your rule book, you can find the cost of food and board and lodgings. So if the accommodation, you have various options. Within the Hairy Hobgoblin, there is a common room. So you can have a common room, a shared room or dormitory, or a private room. So you can see there that the common room is actually, which is this place here, is actually 0.5. So that's actually half a silver piece per night. Okay, so a shared room dormitory is 1 silver piece per night.
How many is that for?
Say again, sorry?
How many people would be in a shared room? For example, could it be Gully, Hengist, and Briggs, or would it be for sort of like 6 people?
It would be a shared dormitory, so it's a bit like there's bunk beds down either side, and so it wouldn't just be you 3. It could be up to 12 people in a dormitory.
Okay. Right.
Sorry, 12 beds in a dormitory, so 24 people. So you can see that there you're in the cheap table. That's what you're at. Or if you want a private...
What page is it on, sorry?
Well, I'm looking at my hardback rule book, and it's on page 59. But I don't know what page it's on.
It's the same.
Is it on the same? Yeah.
It's the same page.
And then
Accommodation, yeah. Sorry.
And then on the same, because you were talking about ordering something, can you see that the food table is there as well? So it'll say meal at a tavern or ill, one silver piece. Ale or beer for the evening, 1 silver piece. Wine, 2 silver pieces. And then your trail rations are 7 silver pieces. So this is almost like a cheap accommodation, this is, rather than something sort of like very expensive. But it does cater for all requirements. You do notice, Gulliver, that when Miko comes in, they just seem to give her place. And the barman sort of like shouts over and says, "Lady Miko, I've kicked somebody out of your room, so it will be ready for you, don't worry." And she sort of like says, oh, thank you, Basil. Thank you so much.
Gulliver's going to order some. He's going to order some bread and cheese. But when the barman comes over, he's going to go. Can I have bread and cheese, please? But can I have more cheese than I have bread?
Well, it's a barmaid that takes your order like a waitress, and she just goes, "Bread and cheese."
But more cheese than bread.
And she just looks around at everybody else. She says, "Do you want ale with that?"
Gully sort of like looks to Hengist as if he's looking for permission.
Hengist is just going to shrug. he
Gully's
doesn't
going
care,
to
be honest.
nod, smiling, and go,
He's
"Yes,
thinking,
please, ale."
Hengist has been drinking ale since he was much younger than Gully, so as far as he's concerned, he's not bothered. Hengist will ask for a plate of whatever, so like is the current meal. So if it's stew, then he'll have stew. If it's a slice of roast with bread and whatever, that's what he'll have. And he'll also ask for some ale as well.
Cool. And what about Briggs?
Briggs is just going to look at her, smile, and say, "Same."
Okay, cool.
So we're looking at 2 silver pieces for that.
Yeah. So you'll have 2 silver pieces, and just to let you know, you have to do at least 1 round of food per day, otherwise you will take ill effects from it. So for example, if you're going out adventuring, you have your trail rations, and that's absolutely fine. But if you're in the town, then you will automatically be taking off your accommodation and your food money.
Any rations that we started the campaign with, I take it we still have, as board and lodgings was provided on the...
Yeah, but your rations are likely to have not been very nice now.
Right.
So you'll be starting off again.
Okay. So as the 4 of us are waiting for the food, being a bit confused with the accommodation, Gully's going to say, "Do we get a room here?" Well, I normally sleep on the parlour floor when I was with Master Healy, but I don't really want to sleep on the parlour floor here. I don't want to sleep in the common room because... And he's going to look around and say, "I think there's probably thieves about."
Could be. Angus says between mouthfuls of ale after it's arrived.
Gully will look at Mistress Miko and say, "Mistress Miko, can I sleep by your fire?"
She turns around to you and says, "No."
Oh. How much is a room? Private room. 2 silver pieces.
Per night. So 14
Gully
silver pieces for the week.
Gully will take out his purse, and when nobody's looking, he's going to have a look, and he's going to remember that he actually won some money on the boat.
Yes, you did. In the wrestling competition.
He's actually got more money than he actually started off with.
Yeah, and you did get some money.
And then he's going to remember that he also maybe found some little trinkets.
Yes, you did.
And that gets him thinking. He's sort of like, you can see him sort of like thinking, and then when the barmaid comes back with his food, he's going to look at her and he's going to say, "I'd also like a private room, please. One to myself."
Yeah, and she sort of like nods after putting your food down, and then she goes over to get the innkeeper, who you have recognised as to be that Mika has called Basil, and just before he arrives, Lady Miko sort of like leans forward to you all and sort of like says, "Now then," she says, "this is an important place for you people, because this is almost like the hive of Lindo. Here you will find people wanting your help, seeking other things, and even progressing further afield. You're not a bad group of people. It could be a good place here to actually make sure that you make good acquaintances and actually start to, shall we say, make a living doing a bit of good for people. And the bar person, the innkeeper, comes over, and he sort of like says, Gentlemen, and Lady Miko, welcome to the Hairy Hobgoblin. I trust you'll be staying. I trust you will be staying.
Yes, I'd like a private room to myself, please.
Ah, that will be fine. You can have the one next to Lady Miko. And you, fine gentleman, what will you be doing?
I'll also take a private room, please, good sir.
Oh. He says, right. He says, I will make room. And you, Master Huntsman.
Briggs is gonna like slam, not slam his hands on the table, but put his hands on the table, lean forward, and look at these two and just say, "What the?" He's gonna mention Captain Seatide because he remembers him saying you get a good deal if you say I sent you. So he's gonna turn around and say, Captain Seatide.
Ah, yes, Wayne. I know Wayne. He's a good captain, Wayne. Yes, Wayne Seatide. Did he send you, Huntsman?
Yes, sir.
He killed an octopus once.
Well, yeah, and
not the Huntsman, Captain Seatide.
Gully, just make a perception roll.
He's got his hand in your pocket.
I'm not even on.
Yeah, you suddenly notice that the innkeeper, Basil, doesn't have a right ear. It's completely gone. And he says, well, he says, if Wayne Seatide has sent you, then let me introduce myself, gentlemen. My name, and lady, my name is Basil Earless, and I'll be the owner of this fine establishment.
I used to know somebody called Handy Jack, and he only had one hand. That's like being earless and only having one ear.
Fine, he sort of like says. Right, he says, now, he says, Wayne has helped me out on several occasions, so I think we can come to a somewhat of an arrangement, people. You know, you scratch my ear, I scratch your ear. Oh, not you, Lady Miko, of course. I don't expect you to be scratching anything around here.
What do you mean when you say we have to scratch things?
Gulliver would know what that means. It's a common phrase that it's used all the time. It's not something that you would misunderstand. You would understand turn of phrases like that. Well, let us see, he says. Shall we? I'm prepared, gentlemen and lady, to give you a discount, shall we say. I'm prepared to give you a discount on your board and lodgings if you can do a slight favour for me. Lady Miko leans back somewhat and smiles to you, all three of you, and gives almost like that knowing look to you, as if to say, I've told you about this.
How much of a discount are we talking?
Well, you are obviously the leader of this fine group, young man. So, shall we say, well, how much of a discount would you like?
Gully's going to look at Miko, and then Hengist, and then Briggs. And when nobody says anything, he's going to say, "Can he make a can he make something like an insight roll or anything like that to judge Brian's intentions?"
Yeah, by all means. Basil's,
sorry. Don't know why I said Brian.
Yeah, his intentions are totally, utterly all above board. Totally, utterly above board. No doubt about it.
Goody's going to say 50%? As if it's more of a question than him asking for it.
Okay, roll your influence skill. He's all like, looks at you and says, he says, "You're obviously new in town." He says, "I'll do better than 50% for you. I am prepared to give you, let's say, a month's free board. Not the food. You pay for that. I'll give you each a private room for a month, if you can help me with a little problem I have."
Of course, sir. That's very kind of you, good sir.
Gully's going to look at Miko and say, "That's a lot, isn't it, Mistress Miko? Isn't it? That's a lot."
Yeah, I mean, Gulliver would know that, wouldn't he? What's Gulliver's what's his intelligence?
14.
Yeah, so he would be able to. I presume you would be able to work out that is a lot, in real life terms. So you would be happy that that's going to actually be quite a bit of quite a good discount. I mean, basically, if you think about it, that's if you think, your board and lodgings is what for the night? In a private room,
2 silver pieces.
2 silver pieces. So that's going to be 14. For a week. So I mean, it's a good deal, that, no matter what. He sort of like says, "Well," he says, and he sort of like comes in a little bit closer, and he says, "I've been having a bit of a problem down below."
Goody's just going to sort of like look down at his feet. He's going to say, what type of problem?
Well, he says, "I think I've got some pests down there."
Right, so what are we to get rid of them? And what do you mean by pests? Are they like rats?
Most definitely. You need to get rid of them, and rather quickly, because things have been going missing, and I'm somewhat concerned where and why.
What type of things have been going missing? Is it food that they're eating?
Yeah, and, ale?
Do rats drink ale?
I don't know whether or not it'd be rats. All I think is a bit of pests. He sort of like leans a little bit closer.
Gully's going to sort of like put two together.
I think it's a gnome.
He sort of like leans forward to you, Gulliver, and Lady Miko sort of like leans in as well, and sort of like he sort of like says to you both. He says, "Down in the cellar, I've been finding crates and barrels opened and bits missing, like food, and jugs and containers of ale. Anyway, I had a bit of a move around and I found a tunnel. Now, it's not a big tunnel, mind you. It's only a small tunnel. But I'm concerned that they might be coming back. So I was hoping that a group of individuals like yourselves would be able to, shall we say, stake out the place and make sure that if they did, whatever they might be, that, you know, you deal with them.
We can do that, and Gully will look at Hengist and Briggs, and then to Miko, and sort of like nod and say, we can do that. Is a tunnel big enough to get down?
He says, I'll show you. And he sort of like takes you down onto down the central staircase on into what appears to be.
Is there a door or anything at the top that's locked, or?
No, what it is that halfway down, there's a doorway that is blocked. It sort of like turns, and then there's a doorway down, and then it comes down again. So now what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to give you some light, because this place down here is somewhat dark, because obviously you're underground. So
is it like a lantern as you go down that we can light and carry?
He's sort of like he gives you like a lantern, and that's giving you like 20 foot of light. So can you see now?
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Briggs is starting to feel a little uneasy, so he grabs hold of Hengist's arm and like gives it like a little squeeze to say, look, you take the lead.
Hengist will look at Briggs squeezing his arm, give him sort of like a raised eyebrow, because obviously he's built up some respect for Briggs so far, and Briggs might think that Hengist might have lost a little bit of respect for him for sort of like seeming to be so squeamish. He would have half expected it from Gully, although Gully's also sort of like going up in his team, but not from Briggs.
Yeah,
but he's going to sort of like take the lead.
Gully's going to hold his lantern up as high as possible so that he can get the maximum lighting from what he has.
I'm just going to move Lady Miko round to the place that you should be. You can come back and deal.
Where is she?
If you just keep coming.
All right.
Okay, so when you get into this place, you can see sort of like see down here that there's some barrels. Around here, you should be able to see the edge of the room. Yeah. Okay, so you can see the edge of the room. There seems to be barrels, and just over here where Lady Miko is, there's a tunnel. And
in between here.
Yeah, just there. So in between there is a tunnel. It's about I don't know whether or not I've got my right. Hang on, I just need to change my settings, because it's still on feet. I don't want it on feet. Okay.
I think just get a bit lighter then.
I just thought. Oh yes, I know why. Because hang on, I bet it goes darker now. Hang on.
Yeah.
So it's because I've set up all your lanterns for 20 foot, And then because I've changed it,
meters.
Yeah. So it's about a meter. It's about a meter wide and a meter high, and these. Hang on, let me just. I'll change it back in a second. These crates here. You think obviously once went along this wall. So it's obvious they've obviously been moved down to this position, and even looking at the ground, you can see that it's been sort of like pulled across to one side, and put there, and it just seems to be like obviously you're underground now, and it just seems to be a cutaway tunnel. And
is it in stone or is it in
no?
Earth?
It's in earth. It's definitely in earth, and it's just sort of like the reason I put some stones in there to signify that it's been broken through the stone wall. So this is a stone wall down here, and it's been broken through that. And you figure that these, if I show you, you think these probably were like that. Can you see?
Up against the wall, yeah.
And was actually protecting, shielding it.
Right. Is Basil down with us as well?
Yeah, he's down, and he's sort of like saying, "I think they might come from in there."
When did you notice that they had whatever it is has broken through into your cellar?
He says, 2 days ago. I kept finding.
Have you heard any noises?
No, not since then. But that's why I came down to start off with. We noticed things going missing, and then one night, I was coming down to refill the ale, and I heard this scratching from out in the other room. This sort of like clawing. And then when I came in, I knew it was sort of like somewhere in this room. So we started to move things, and lo and behold, when we moved the crates, that's what we saw. A blooming tunnel.
So when you say that things have been going missing, like food and ale, how much has gone? Is it a lot?
Well, how much?
And is it like a barrel of ale that's gone?
No, it's not a barrel. They seem to open a bit of it and take some of it off. You know, as if they're filling something. And the food, they don't empty the crates. They just take some. You know, like a cup of, like a few mugfuls of grain. Or, you know, they take a chicken or something like that.
Well, I think the best thing. I mean, we can stay down here, and we can wait until they come through, and then we could capture them. We could have something like a trap, because Briggs could probably set a trap for them.
Well, do you want to know what I think it is? I think it's rats. I think it's rats. And
Do rats drink ale?
Well, I don't know. But he looks at the tunnel entrance. He sort of says, "But what else can get through there?"
Maybe we could.
You think?
Down
well, yeah, exactly. You think you would have to go down it on all fours, to actually go down it. You don't think you could walk down it, stood up. It's definitely sort of like on all fours crawling down.
When did you hear them, Basil? What time of day was it? Was it when you were? Was it during the night?
Yeah. As I said, I came down for some more ale, and I heard them. And me, and the missus and the barmaid, we moved those chests, those crates, and we found this.
Had the food and ale gone missing before you moved those crates?
Yeah, for like weeks.
but not very much at a time.
No, hardly any at all. But it's only when we actually came down and heard it, and we suddenly thought, what's going on here?
Gully's going to look at Hengist, and then he's going to look at Briggs, and then he's going to go. He's going to shake his head, and he's going to go. It can't be rats, because rats can't move crates. And if the food's already been going missing, and when Basil came down and the crates were across, and he had to move them to find the hole, that means that whoever's been coming in and taking the food and drinking the ale has been moving the crates backwards and forwards. And I don't know a lot about rats, but I know that rats can't move crates backwards and forwards like that.
Unless, Basil says, the rat men.
Yes.
Gully's eyes are going to go really, really wide, and he's going to go, rat men.
Men with hairy bodies and protruding,
like a hobgoblin,
with protruding teeth the size of twin daggers from the upper lip.
Gully's eyes are going to go really, really wide.
Angus is going
and after a while, he's going to go, rat men.
Angus is going to answer and say, "Well, whatever it is, we'll catch them and sort them out for you."
Are we capturing them?
Wow.
Do you want them captured, Basil?
Basil earless looks at you and he says, stuff the capturing. He says, I'm quite happy to kill them.
Angus will say, "That's all well and good if they're rats or rat men. What if they're street urchins or young children? We'll probably catch them then."
Young children? He says, why would young children be eating my ale?
They could be.
He says, I think they're rat men.
Can you show us to our rooms before, though, Basil, so that we can put our stuff there before we come down and wait down here?
Yeah, he says, what I would do, can you see as we came down? There's a room down here with a bed and some tables, etc. He says, maybe you should stay down here for tonight. He's a seat here.
Yeah.
Sounds a good idea. And then Hengist is going to turn to Briggs and say, "Help me move the crate back over the hole so they don't know that we're here."
Briggs is going to nod and walk over to the crate.
Yeah. Briggs. Can you check for I don't know, some type of tracking thing? Can you look for footprints?
There you go, guys.
Rat prints.
He's going to say, "Let me have a look."
Basil turns around to you and says, how are they going to get in the room?
Oh, you can.
Well, when I said that, I meant however it was normally. I assume the hole wasn't, because you said that they moved the crates out and found the hole. So I assumed the crates were in front of the hole in the first place. I just wanted to put it back as they were.
That's how it
before.
was.
Okay. That's fine.
Briggs wants.
Okay, Basil.
Any...
We'll stay here. You can go back into and do your and see to your guests.
Right. He says, shout if you need any assistance. And he sort of rolls his shoulders back, and he says, I didn't lose his ear in a fight with a rat.
How did you lose your ear?
Interesting you say that, little man. Because I lost my ear in the fight with a werewolf. Yeah. It had me pinned down to the floor the full moon reflecting from behind it. It had my arms pinned to the ground, and I was writhing, struggling and trying to get up. And as the moon flashed in my face, it came down for that fatal bite to my neck. But luckily, I quickly turned my head, and all it got was me ear. And
Gully's eyes are going to be really, really wide.
I managed to kick it off in a certain area where werewolves do not like to be kicked. And it went off, howling, into the forest. And from that day on, little man, I've been known as Basil Earless.
Gully's going to say, I killed a giant scorpion with a stone, and I've still got the stone. And he's going to take it out. He's going to put his hand in his tunic and come out with the stone that he threw at the giant scorpion. And he'll say, you can hold it if you want. I think it's lucky.
He looks down at the stone and he says, that'd be a lucky scorpion-killing stone, matey. You keep it.
Gully's going to nod and put it back in.
And he heads up to the back up to the common room. You hear him sort of like banging up the stairs.
Angus is gonna make himself comfortable in this sort of area, like moving whatever's in there. So if there's like things in sacks and stuff, and make himself a little.
What's the plan, Hengist?
Did you say you're putting your armor on, Hengist?
Yeah, and then he'll put his remaining bits of his armor on, apart from his helmet, which he's gonna leave next to him. He's gonna have his shield laid out the other side of his little sacking, like a little sack chair that is made out of whatever bales of sacks the sacking that's around.
What type of lanterns are they? Just normal ones, or are they hooded lanterns?
They're just sort of like you can see from
or a shuttered lantern.
No, they're just sort of like normal lanterns. They're giving you like 20 odd foot of light at the moment.
So normally this place down here, if nobody was down here, it would be completely dark.
Yeah.
So us being in here with our lights on is probably going to alert anybody who is used to coming into it. Because this isn't covered anymore, is it? Is it just that we can't move it? Is this pushed back?
I don't know where you're pinging, sorry.
Sorry, this thing here.
That's pushed back over the entrance now.
Right.
Briggs is just a bit anxious. He's looking around this place. How low is the ceiling?
It's not that low. I mean, it is a cellar, but it's sort of like normal height of a room. The only thing about it's quite dank down here. It's not dry, it's not damp, but it is underground.
Yeah, he's really uncomfortable. He doesn't want to be hanging around here, so he's gonna make his way back up.
Up to the common room.
Yeah, up to the at least upstairs, so he can get some, so he feels like he's getting some fresh air.
Yeah. So Briggs heads up back up into the common room.
Angus is going to turn to Gurley and go, I'm quite happy to wait for them to come through, and then we can see what it is. Saves us crawling around through small tunnels.
Why don't we hide then, Hengist? Why don't we hide behind these barrels over here? And we could hide behind them, and we could wait. And when we hear them, we could turn off the lantern and wait until they come in, and then we could come out and surprise them.
Angus is going to go, good idea, lad. And he's going to pick up his things and his bales sacking bales that he's made his little chair out of. And he's going to do the same thing over on this side.
Let's hide behind these barrels. There must be enough.
You can probably roll these barrels out somewhat, like
Yeah, so we'll pull the barrels out. We'll leave the lantern on, because
you can probably I think.
Oh, I'll tell you what I'll look for. I'll look for maybe a small crate or a small barrel that I can leave the lantern on until I hear something, and then when I hear something, I can put the crate or the small barrel over the top of the lantern to maybe block off some of the light.
Well, you could probably find a bit of cloth or something like that, or sacking to actually put over the top of it. I'm just wondering why my site. Yeah, so you can. You could have it that. So, for example, if I.
Which crates were broken into last time? These ones down here, where I am.
Can you see now? I actually think only Gulliver has the light.
He does, yeah.
Say, does somebody else? Oh, hang on, somebody else has it.
If I move it down here.
Yeah.
Somebody else has it now as well. Is it Miko?
It looks like Miko, yeah.
That's it. It's gone now.
Has it gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it has.
It has on mine. I can't see it. The only person that's got light now is Gully.
I can see my token, but I can't. And then I can see Gully in the area of his light.
Right. I can still see Miko's.
It flashed on for a bit for us, but we can't see it now.
Okay, that's not a problem. Hang on, if I take that off, I think that might. There you go. Yeah, it's now just on Gulliver, I think now. Can you just move Gully? Yeah.
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 Okay. So what's the plan, Hengist? When we hear them, are we going to go out and surprise them? But what happens if they turn around and they actually start running back through the?
Then we'll have to follow them,
are we going to follow?
We will have to, won't we? We need to stop them.
Okay.
We'll try and wait until we can definitely hear them in the room, and then we'll just have to move sharpish to catch them.
I think we need to be really, really quiet then and listen so that we can actually hear the actual crates moving that's covering the hull. And then I'll wait for your command, and when you say go, I'll uncover the lantern. Is that a good plan?
Good enough, lad. But I won't shout. I'll probably more likely just tap you.
So if you tap me, I uncover the lantern.
I'll tap you and whisper, because if I shout go, that's gonna get rid of the element of surprise.
What? Okay, what are you going to whisper?
Go. I'll whisper go, or now.
Go.
Yeah, go. I'll whisper go, and then tap you at the same time.
Okay, so
and then we'll go.
Gully's going to settle down now. I mean, it's about 3:00, isn't it?
Yeah, no, you're coming into the sort of like the evening session of the tavern, so things are happening, But
okay, he's going to try to make himself as comfortable as possible. He's going to do his best to listen for any sounds in the cellar. He knows it's going to be probably hard because there's going to be tables scraping or chairs scraping on the floor. There's going to be noises of people in drunken stupor singing or shouting, but he's going to do his utmost best to try to listen for the thing, and as he's doing that, to occupy himself, he once again he's going to take out this mummified bird claw that Miko gave him. He's just going to be playing with it in his hand. He's just going to be turning it over and over, or
cool,
just to keep himself occupied.
So time sort of like goes on, and you suddenly realize that the noise from up above in the main tavern room has slowly sort of like faltered for a bit and then gone silent, and you just sort of like hear the odd sounds of footsteps just sort of like going around, the odd tankard falling on the ground that's echoing on the floorboards, and the sort of like just the odd now and again muttering, and then even after a while those actually stop, and the whole place just sort of like descends into silence, and there's no sound at all, and you figure it must be well after midnight when that happens, and it's about what you think is probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, when you hear it's almost like a scraping sound, and you think it's actually a scraping sound of the crate, as if it's being pushed rather than being scraped at.
Hearing this, Gully's going to make sure that the lantern is covered so that there's not a lot of light coming from it.
Can Briggs come back down now that he's recovered himself? He's sorted his head out for a bit. Briggs would want to go down with the rest of his crew before all that kicks off.
Yeah, it's completely up to you.
Why are you so small?
Yeah, why? I was wondering that, why we're all smaller than each other.
So shortly, just before the action's about to start, Briggs comes back down from up above, and sort of like decides that he's composed himself somewhat, and the cellar's not causing him as much concern as it was before. And you sort of like hear this. It's definitely like as if the crate's being pushed along almost like the stone floor.
Angus is not going. He's going to start getting ready slowly, but he's not going to give the signal yet, because he wants to wait for them to what he thinks long enough for them to, whoever's coming in, to get into the room first. Because if they go now, he's thinking, if they go now, they'll scarper. We need to catch them in the act.
Gully's ready with the lantern, with the cloth in it, just waiting for the signal, and then he's going to jump out from behind the crates and pull off the cloth from the lantern.
Okay, just 1 second. Yeah, so you sort of like hear this crate going. You tell me when you want to sort of like burst into action, because I don't think you can actually see the turn. Yeah,
no.
So you hear the thing sort of like going like that across, and then it sort of like stops, and then just make a perception roll, everyone, please.
Good thing I put those 2 points in there.
Yeah, you start to hear the almost like the scampering of claws, and you hear almost like as if something sort of like rapidly, you know, like a dog when it burrows.
Yeah.
So like that against wood, as well, and you hear a lot of sniffing.
Hengist is going to tap Gully on the shoulder and go.
As soon as Hengist taps him, Gully's going to jump out and uncover the lantern.
Okay.
And Hengist is going to be hot on his tail as well, so with sword drawn.
But Gully actually goes before Hengist actually says go. As soon as he taps him, he jumps out.
And I think even from that position that you're in now, you still can't see the entrance of the.
Maybe should. I'm going to need to go. I've hardly got any light here. Yeah, so I'm going to have to sort of like
hang on,
run out into the middle of the room.
You are. So actually, just go back. Both of you go back, because I'll tell you, because I think it's important what you see as you get out. So it's when you get to there that you see something that seems to be sniffing around. It seems to be quite big, and it appears to be rat-like, but it appears to have no fur at all. And if anything, you think it's probably blind. Its eyes are sort of like milky white, and it's sort of like sniffing around the ground. And as you sort of like come out with your light, it's not that the light doesn't worry it or anything. It almost like immediately sort of like picks up your scent and turns straight towards you.
How big are we talking? Size of a small dog? Bigger?
Right. So if I'll put it into your light, and then I'll move it away from you.
Oh.
So it's sort of like a meter, 2 meters long.
It's about 1.5 meters in length, but not that tall.
Right.
Okay, but it looks a cross.
A large dog, then. The size of a large dog.
Yeah, it looks almost like imagine a bulldog, but bigger, and
right.
it looks like a cross between a giant rat, and
a baby rat,
and a mole.
Right.
So it's almost like a bald, hairless, furless mole.
It's a roll map.
Okay, and what we'll do, I think, at that point, I think we need to have...
Oh.
We'll have some initiative.
Did mine not roll?
No.
No.
You did roll, but it didn't. You didn't have your token clip.
It did roll. I can add it.
Did.
Maybe it was because Inwas was still setting up the turn order. Because I did see it flash up,
right.
But then it disappeared straight away. It was a crap roll.
I thought we was having that issue where it didn't roll, or it took its time to show up or something.
And just 1 second, I just need to do this and all that. That gives me... And sorry, I just need to do Miko. Cool. Okay then, so let me just rearrange that. and those will be the initiatives for when we come back next week, because it's 10:30 now. So I will keep those in preparation for next week. I'll just move you back to that screen there. And this...
be thankful, Big, that it's next week and not the week after next.
Yeah. I'll leave it like that. So before we go, if you would like to tell people where they can find you between now and next week. Okay. Hang on, let me just transition across. Right, Chuggerwugger, you can go first.
I'm Chuggerwugger. You can find me here now on Saturdays for Mythras. You can also find me here on Tuesdays, where I play Studley, the combat mage in the Shadowrun campaign.
Oh, yes.
You can also find me for the latter part of Saturdays and Sundays in Will's channel, where I act as a moderator. I also run a 7 Days to Die server for community members of In Will's community. You can find us on Discord, where we sit back, relax, kill zombies, and talk about rubbish.
Cool. And Big Beastie.
I am Big Beastie, and you can find me in my own channel streaming when I can be bothered, or you can see me again Saturdays playing Mythras, Tuesdays playing Shadowrun, and generally lurking in Will's channel, just putting random emotes in the chat.
Cool. And Longshanks EPG.
Hi guys, I'm Longshanks EPG. You can find me in the mentioned games, Shadowrun on Tuesdays and Mythras, which is now moved to Saturdays. So yeah, you can find me there. And I'll generally be chilling in Will's channel. And if I happen to be around and not working when Big Beastie's streaming, then in Big Beastie's channel.
Excellent. Now, I mentioned last week that we had some fan art, if you remember.
Oh, hang on. I haven't got the channel open.
This was the fan art that we had sent in last week of Gulliver killing a statue. And,
that's very good.
And you'll be pleased to know that we've had some more fan art actually sent in. It came to me via Discord, and I think it's of a very similar, very high standard, and I'm very impressed by it. And I think they've really captured both the action and the characters in this next picture. So you'll probably instantly feel that you're actually in the scene and you're actually there. So here's the fan art that's got sent to us this week. I think it's the bit when the bird took off Briggs's
that's very good.
arm.
That is good.
And Hengist is sort of like right in the background somewhere with, I presume that's his sword and shield he's got out there. And
I'm really impressed at the ship.
You can
see
the
ship's good.
You can see that
it's a boat, not a ship.
You can see that the bird is taking off. So it's quite an action shot there. The slight incorrect order of events, because it looks like the bird's actually coming down and Briggs's arm is already off. But however, I still think it's a wonderful piece of fan art, and I would like to thank Marcus for sending that in to us. And
very good.
Yes, and that's two that we've had. The first one was anonymous, and the
waffles for him.
And the second one was sent in from Marcus. I don't know if you're watching, Marcus, but if you are, then thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed that. And I look forward to next week's fan art. So if you do have a piece of fan art that you would like to share with us, then by all means, just join the Discord and send it to me on there, and I can line it up for next week's adventure. So we will remain, hope you will come back next week to see what will be happening. You know, we've got the party down, probably been encountered some kind of giant mole rats of some description in a cellar. And we might find out the mysteries to some things, like, you know, why did Briggs actually get some kind of an eagle face in the very first battle on the ships? What's going on there? And also, why does everybody seem to know Lady Miko? What's going on there, we wonder? Well, if you would like to find out the answer to these questions and a lot more, then please do come along next week and see us playing Runequest 6, or as we like to call it, Mythras. And hopefully by then I'll have the intro done. But hopefully. So it only remains for me to say my usual way. Have fun, guys, and I'll catch you all later. And until then, consider yourself waffled. See you later, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.